Welcome back to the Was That Mean podcast, and I'm your host, Aaron Freeman. You know, on my quest to being the coolest nine-finger nigga in America, you know, I cover a lot of different topics, and, you know, I promised you we would do part 2 of the barbershop conversation we had earlier, so, of course, I'm a man of my word, so I brought my brother Maurice Murray back. Also got my boy Dominique Forbes. He was here on the first episode, and we, you know, like always, we're going to have a conversation. You know, y'all say what's up to the people.
What up? You know, peace.
You know, the first time we did this, and I think it was like episode 3. We was in the barbershop. There was a lot of people. There was a lot of back and forth. It got high and emotional. It definitely sparked a lot of conversation. So I owe it to the listeners that consistently listen to me and follow me that to bring this back so we can get more across. I didn't bring as many people this time. I like to have conversations. I like to give understanding, you know, as well as controversy and comedy and stuff like that. I'm sure it'll be funny moments, but of course this is a little bit more serious, seeing as how it is the topic. Speaking of following, thank you to everybody that is listening and, you know, making sure you're watching the videos and stuff like that, but I need y'all to subscribe, follow, hit that like button, you know, so that we know where we at with it and where we need to make sure we get to. So, you know, thank you for listening, but I also want y'all to subscribe. You can follow us on SoundCloud at Was That Mean ? On YouTube, hashtag Was That Mean ? On Facebook, you can get at us at facebook.com/Was That Mean. Instagram is Was That Mean. Twitter at AFree88. Make sure you have conversation with me. I want to hear you, you know, so I make sure I'm speaking to the people that's listening to me directly. But just to get into it, did you get it? You, of course, you watched the episode we did together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You watched it as well.
Yeah.
What did you take from the episode?
What you mean, like?
What was your feeling after watching yourself and watching how everything went? Like, what would you say after?
I mean, I felt like it was everywhere, just like he was saying, and I felt like I was misunderstood. You know, I felt like a lot of people didn't understand what I was saying.
Right.
You know, and certain points, I can't remember what topics was, you know, off the top right now that we was talking about, but I just felt like they didn't understand what I was saying. Like, I mean, which most people don't. Like,
right.
And I don't blame them for not understanding. Cause sometimes I don't even understand it sometimes, you know. Right. And cause I'm still learning as well, you know. But I'm not saying I'm teaching, but I speak my mind, right. You know. And I
see what I wanted to get across was information, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I wanted to be a healthy debate on what I saw as positive and what I saw as negative in the teachings that he follows. You watched it.
Yeah.
What did you take from it?
Like you said, it was everywhere, but at the same time, like I felt like it had direction, but it didn't. Like it could have been directed a little bit more. We had the Caucasian man, and my man wasn't saying nothing. We like really need to hear his side, right. You know. So then therefore there could be some healthy dialogue, some healthy banter going back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Hearing the opposite side, the opposite race of, you know what I'm saying, what was going on and the views, how they look at it and what they're thinking, but.
That was more, and I take full responsibility as known. You know, I'm just starting.
That was another thing for me too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I sat back and looked at it. I was like, he was just sitting there, like, you know.
Yeah, because taking it off. What I try to do most of all is let stuff flow. And a lot of what we didn't catch on camera, a lot of directioning was happening off camera. So in the midst of the breaks, like I would let everybody know, like, hey, this is what is meant here. This is what it's trying to come across. You know what I mean? But I try to make sure that I let people voice their opinion. Now, where I could have did was I could have wrangled him in more, though. If he be honest with you, I was tapping the shit out of him while he was talking. Like, hey, my nigga, calm down.
I was fresh off work, man. You know, I was already kind of amped up, so you know, I was coming in there, mind everywhere already. So I was already, you know.
Yeah. I mean, and so I take a full responsibility because this is my show for not directing it better. That's why I guaranteed a part two.
You still did a good job, bro. You still did a good job. I make sure that he takes responsibility in being as passionate as about it. It comes off emotional, and I think everybody that was a part of that first episode most definitely because because of how like organic it was and how I did let it flow. Right. You got so many different sides. You know what I mean? Did, really.
And
but it could have got. I feel like it could have got deeper if it would have been like the topic. You know, like what
we did go so many places.
Yeah, because we jumped. I knew I was. You know, it's like we jumped here, then we jumped here, and then they really didn't understand what we were talking about here. You know, so then we jumped there.
Well, and then you had too more people
to go back and forth.
To go back, like you had people that was sitting in there. Then you had people cutting hair. Everybody had an input. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And everyone who really has an input, they're going to feel as though what they're saying is the right thing. Like it's correct. So you know what I'm saying? It's even though we may not agree upon it, it gotta be respected. Right. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me I can't cook. If I know in my heart I'm getting busy. Yeah. How you gonna say I can't cook? You know what I'm saying? It all comes down to, I mean, my nigga, you might think you can cook, but I mean,
this is my point of view. Okay, so since I got you here, what I'll try to do is go base by base. I let it go as free as I can, but I will get it more honed in this time. You know what I mean? I got a little bit more seasoning to me. You know, I'm getting better as we go along. I hope I am anyway. And I think this is very important. This conversation is
it's necessary.
Yeah, it's always necessary.
Yeah. So let's bring it back from here. We started off with the president last episode and what's going on. Since then, a lot has transpired, and like where are you at so far with what's going on publicly with the government?
See, me, I haven't been like on that, like following what Trump's doing, like his every move. Like I'm not the type of person that's following his every move. Like, yeah, Trump's doing such and such. He just did so. I'm not that type of person. I'm on, like you said, pro-black. I'm on another page. You know, I'm focused on something else. But what he's doing is, and you know, the government and all that other mess, that ain't doing nothing but stirring up confusion.
Right.
I feel like, you know.
And when you say confusion, what are you referring to?
I mean, it's for one, for him to come out and say the stuff that he say, like,
right.
You know, I'm pretty sure Obama wanted to say some stuff like that he wanted to say, like that was on his mind. Cause Trump, he seemed to say what comes, you know.
Well, even the thing,
and they let him, you know.
Well, even the thing about Obama having something to say, like he said it. And people still had something to say about what he said. You know what I'm saying? I think it's just that thing where you ain't gonna be able to satisfy, because some people have no issues of what the man is saying. Right. You know what I'm saying? But for other people like that, like us, we might have like some reservation and some, I don't know about that. You know what I'm saying? So,
I mean, it's no way to satisfy everybody.
Yeah, you can't.
Not giving him a pass. But still, at the end of the day.
What you mean there's no way to satisfy everybody?
Okay, boom. When I get dressed, I'm not necessarily doing it for everybody's attention, but everybody's going to pay attention. I got a few select Negroes in my group that they get busy when it comes to fashion the way that I do. So when I get dressed, it's to curl up their face. You see what I'm saying? Not to impress men, because I'm always straight. and I love the way my lady looks at me when I do get fly. But it's like a secret competition amongst us. Like when I don't say nothing, I just show up like, yo, I did that. I'm expecting to get like, ooh, yeah. But in the midst of that though, it's gonna be somebody in the group that go, I'm not really feeling what he had on. So that's what I mean by it's no way to satisfy everybody. Obama, I'm pretty sure Obama would have loved to be pro-black. I'm up here to be black people only, stuff like that. If that was his mindset, because him being number one, the first black president, and then on top of that, knowing that he was going to be so heavily scrutinized, he had to be more of the people. Now, where I feel of what he said last episode, that we take a fault at as black people, is how unorganized we are. And how groups can come to somebody like, yo, this is what we want as a people. When we get together to have those kind of meetings, it's so many different agendas that it's never no resolution to even go further than a meeting. You see what I'm saying? We don't have nothing to present. Because where this person's thing might be police brutality, this person's thing might be religion, or this person's thing might be subsidized housing, or this person's thing might be education. Yeah. Everybody comes with their agenda, and everybody wants to get their agenda across. So everybody leaves frustrated.
Who's everybody?
I'm talking about as a community, the black community. When we come together to get a point across, everybody comes with so many separate agendas, and just want to get their agenda across that nobody else's agenda matters to them. Yeah. So then we come together trying to say, hey, this is what we need to go to them with. And because everybody's on their own agenda, nothing gets accomplished. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm pretty sure President Obama would have been, hey, I'm cool with y'all bring me something. We couldn't even get to the point where we can bring something to the table.
That's my point exactly.
And where I felt you at.
That's my point exactly.
Where I felt you at last episode with that statement, is stuff like that is how you explain it. You see what I'm saying? But once again, because of the... it can't get across. Right. But at the same time, what I'm never going to agree with is, okay, we came to a meeting to get a point across. The point didn't get across. That don't mean you shut the hell down. No. It's still work to be done. Yeah. And if everybody's not doing it together, that don't say you stop working. Because there's no excuse for you to not work. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead with what you were trying to say.
I felt like Obama, he wasn't going to do nothing for us after the second term. Like, I knew it, like, because that's when I first started to get into the Black Power movement, and started to read up on things and research things, and I started to realize, like, how can he do help us as black folks in the community, in the ghetto. I'm gonna say that. How can he do something for us when he's been a puppet in somebody else's system?
And see, that's my thing. When you say puppet, what I want
even Trump.
That's what I want you to realize. Like, it's not a black thing.
Yeah,
anybody in that seat is controlled by. They don't have as much power as the president type. Like, it's like being the face of a business.
Be more so like a dictatorship then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they always, we always, if you go back in the history and you look at the government, who trusts the government?
A lot of people do.
So why would you go and work for, knowing their history? Why would you go and work for the government at that position and not knowing what you're getting yourself into?
A lot of people,
you're not gonna take this position not knowing what you're getting yourself into.
Well, I don't believe it, because I believe if you running to be the president of the United States, I do believe that you have some kind of sense of
Cause you know that's a hard job.
You do, and I believe that people go into a job thinking like, okay, he ain't do this, but I'm gonna get this done. Okay. And when you get there,
cause they make you feel like that.
Yeah, see, but I'm saying, but it's no way for you specifically to know that this is gonna be the way it is once you get in there. Because granted, it's no way like you can't. I can't tell a person to play the drums that actually plays the drums if I've never played the drums. I can tell them what I think is cool, but only they know what being a drum player really entails. You see what I'm saying? So, whereas if him being a senator, a governor, anybody that's been something else before they became president, they got their idea of what a president should be or how a presidential term should run. But it ain't no telling until you get in that office what rules and restrictions you actually have. Because where the president ain't nothing but a face of a company. It's like Lady Eloise in Boomerang. She was the face. She ain't have no power. No. At the end of the day, as a president, you gotta still answer to somebody else. You see what I'm saying? And that's in every position in life.
That's life. Like
yeah, but at that state,
you don't.
At what point? Give me an example of something where you don't answer to somebody.
When, besides going to work,
anything where you don't answer somebody, because boom, in a marriage, you gotta answer to somebody.
Some people don't get married.
Okay, in life, if you have a house that you don't, even if you own a house, you still answer to somebody.
What if somebody that stays in another country
still answers to somebody?
What if they build their own house?
You gotta
still
pay taxes
answer to somebody.
Some people in other countries they don't pay taxes.
Yeah, they don't pay taxes, but they still answer to somebody.
Who do they answer?
Okay, boom.
I mean, because of the government.
Yeah, exactly. Because, you always.
But who's the face of the white supremacy? Is the face of.
And that's what I'm saying. It is cases of white supremacy in a lot of stuff. But even the highest
white supremacists in government.
Even at the highest rate of white supremacy, they still answer to somebody. Everybody.
Somebody white.
It don't matter what color they are. They still got to answer to somebody.
Yeah, because you have a chain. Like
it's always gonna be a chain to come in. Even the CEO of a
as you go up the ladder, it gets lighter and lighter. You don't answer to nobody that look like me and you.
Okay, boom.
And if you do, you got to answer to somebody that's.
But does it matter if you answer to what color? It doesn't matter what color they are.
Yeah,
you got to answer to them.
It does.
Why?
Because that's just like a baby being born. Like you teach, you give them white baby dolls or.
See, but this is where I think you get confused.
I say like people in power, even people in power, like the police, the judge,
they still answer to somebody.
Politicians, people of power,
the police.
You know what I'm saying? It's always a white face. You get what I'm saying? You see, you rarely see black faces.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a good example of a power structure that's all the way black. City of Baltimore.
Okay.
Black police chief, black council, black township, black the judge that's in over everybody.
What is like jurisdiction or something?
Yeah, no. As far as like the head people in charge,
okay.
is black because that city is majority black. In that actual city, the power structure, as far as the highest ranks, is all black.
Okay.
And in that, they still, like, I believe it's Freddie Gray that got killed in Baltimore, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Was it? It's somebody, whoever it is
I think
that got
it was
killed.
him though, but yeah,
whoever it is that got killed, right? The prosecutor in that case, because of how she presented the case,
black woman.
Yeah, is getting put out by who? Black people. It's no white traces anywhere there. Now, the mythology of the man. It's white supremacy is very much alive in America. It's a lot of pieces of America, foundation built on white supremacy, ran off of white supremacy ideas, and controlled by white supremacy. But it's a lot of shit done by actual black people because of black ideals. What I don't believe in is victimology.
I don't believe in that.
And a lot of pro-black people is what I say. Your Tyreek Nasheed's, very smart brother. Very brilliant man. Your Dr. Umar Johnson. A lot of black leaders, period, preach things that comfort victimology. And I don't agree with that at all. You see what I'm saying? You itching. Go ahead. I'm going to let you run.
What do you mean by playing the victim role? Like,
victimology to me is, okay, I know for a fact there was slavery in this country. I know for a fact that we are a minority in this country. I know for a fact that in different parts of slavery, certain things like religion, just all the way, what they taught to be right was that you as a person of color are automatically lower than me because of your color.
Your race, yeah.
You know what I mean? Me as a white man, I am ahead of you because I am white. That was taught many years ago. Since then, you would have to be absolutely, and I'm just as blunt as they come. You have to be absolutely retarded to not see progression in mindset. I'm not going to blame. There's no way to blame a whole society or a whole race for anything. Everybody in here got white friends. Yeah. Everybody in here got ignorant black friends.
No doubt.
I can't blame ignorant black people on everybody. I can't blame racist white people on everybody. I can't blame my circumstance on anybody. Because even though a person might be giving me a harder time, I always try to find out for example, me and my old lady, everybody in here that got an old lady or any person that's listening that got an old lady, they argue with their old lady. Most times it's off of differences of ideals. Now, if in an argument, everybody plays a wrong part.
Yeah.
And if you break it down to where it got you, you get stopped by the police. I guarantee you, something in this situation led to your stop. Now, there are cases where people are getting picked on. I'm not blind to that at all.
No doubt.
But something is going on. Now, let's say you weren't doing nothing at all. Police pull you over. The procedure goes, license and registration, any of that. Now, they pulled you over for no reason. But if your license is revoked, you're going to have a bad night. If your tags are out of date, you're going to have a bad night. If you're riding around with illegal tint, that's probably the reason they pulled you over. If they come up to your car and you were like maybe smoking weed or you're drunk driving or maybe you were past the ordinance.
So how are we free then?
Huh?
So how are we free?
Because just like you went to work today and you came to this show.
That's no.
So you telling me your free is what?
What is free to you? What is your definition of free?
You telling me I can't even tint my windows dark?
Maurice, hold on. You can, but
it's a law of the land.
North Carolina
in your house, your kids can be whatever they want to be. If they break one of your rules, it is a cost to pay for breaking your rules, right? Right? So, are they not free?
That's not the same thing.
How?
Because they stole this land.
But okay, so
you
what?
Talking about two? This
let me
to that.
Let me get into some all the way for real stuff.
My kids didn't steal my house.
85% of the slaves that came to this land were sold by other black people.
Why?
Because they wanted to. They didn't come.
Show me in history, and show me where.
I don't have an exact.
You got to show me that.
Exact nation.
Show me that.
After this show,
you said because they wanted to.
Yes.
Show me that.
Because it was no person. First of all, white people didn't come to Africa
before
and war and droves. First of all, you're not coming to Africa at that time with any amount of people and not getting your shit split. Because those Africans were very prideful.
It was a lot. It was a lot of tribes.
Yeah, so when they came, they came with stuff that black people at that time did not know about. They came bearing
firepower.
Gifts. Now, I'm not talking about war.
It
I'm talking about
it was get down.
they actually present. No,
Yeah,
it wasn't
was.
that case every
Yes,
time.
it was.
They came bearing stuff like, "Hey, look, we need workers. You have people in your tribe that have to do what you tell them to do. I will give you this. In return, you give me these people." And people were literally sold by African chiefs, African leaders in Africa.
Show me that.
I promise you, I will bet you any amount of money that is true.
Show me that.
Yeah, I will show it to you, no problem. Because it's no way that you could tell me that those white people came over there strong enough to fuck with them tribes.
They had firepower.
Not at the beginning.
When?
Not at the beginning. Guns have not been here since the beginning of the time. Those white people came over here on ships. And you telling me that they came with enough ships to take over Africa as a whole to bring people back? It's no way possible.
Yeah, we saw us, but like
it wasn't even. They didn't take it over. They didn't take Africa.
Reese,
they didn't take.
Reese, you know plenty
Listen
of
to me. They didn't take Africa as a whole by force. They took some of it by religion.
Reese, that's still a decision you make. The same people that was preaching the same message, using the same word.
They gave them a white God.
And we're gonna get on that next. But I'm gonna
say
this.
Them a white God.
We're gonna say this, and then we're gonna get on the whole white God thing. The same people that was preaching the same Bible to slaves in America, the same people that were preaching to a Nate Parker, or Nat Turner, my bad, a Nat Turner, he read the same exact word that white people were using to enslave people and got a completely different message to uprouse slaves to fight for themselves. For every bit of the word that...
But what slaves do you know now are fighting for themselves?
Ain't nobody... Name me a slave.
Enslaved. I'm not saying enslaved. Enslaved.
Name me a
everybody.
I'm not a slave. I'm not a slave.
I ain't saying you. I'm just saying
it's a lot of people that are in here.
Because they don't know no better because...
How? How do you not know?
Because their parents didn't know.
No,
they just going off. They just going off what they've been taught.
Reese,
and what they've seen.
A lot, but then that's up to that.
Everybody didn't grow up like you did.
No,
everybody didn't grow up like I did. Everybody didn't grow up like you did. But still, it's a lot of people.
You have access to everything just the same way. If you choose not to access,
everybody's household was not like ours.
Yeah, but still,
a lot of people.
But like you said, we still are granted.
You're right.
But we don't. You know what I'm saying?
But it's not. We're not utilizing those tools.
But that's on us.
Exactly.
But we don't know how.
We can't give people a pass because they chose to stay in their circumstance.
No,
you can't do that.
That's what I'm talking about with victimology.
Because it all comes down to a choice. You have a choice whether you're going to get up and go punch your clock or whether you're going to get up and hit the block. You know what I'm saying? Now, what comes with your consequences? Now, you go to work.
But why do we have those choices to do that?
Because everybody has a choice. Everybody has that same choice. If you decide to not further your education or not become your own person or not to even know what's going on around you, it's still your choice. Nobody has a gun to nobody's head.
You know why? You just said, like, when he asked you about the Trump and what's going on, you know why you don't know? Because you choosing not to even rock with that.
Right. It's always a choice.
Because I'm on a whole nother way.
But that was your choice. Because you weren't always
so if I was in tune with that, I wouldn't be.
But you can do both. You choose. You choose to be the.
I mean, I might dip and dab, and
But I'm not saying, and there's nothing wrong with that. But guess what you had? A choice.
Yeah.
The difference between us now and why I can never say we're enslaved is back then they didn't have a choice.
Nah.
This is what you had to do. And everybody that chose to do different, it was a result.
You had stripes on your back. You know what I'm saying?
Stripes or death.
Or death.
It was either or.
Now we can say no.
Boom. I take it even further than that. In Jamaica, in the West Indies, and places like that where slavery, where Lynch was even at. Willie Lynch was even at. The methods they practiced consisted of shit like, yo, we're going to take the strongest slave out here, and we're going to fuck him in front of everybody. Now, I want you to know that I have sexually conquered your leader, and now everybody else is like, if I didn't did this to him, guess what I can do to you?
Yeah.
The difference in that and now is, whenever somebody shows you something that you don't agree with, it's steps we can take to counteract what the fuck they say. Granted, it's a lot of fucked up shit that's against us. Like, we're not even a whole man according to the Constitution. But the law is the fucking law.
You know what you just said, right?
Yeah.
They take the strongest man. That's just like now. They take our strongest man, LeBron James.
What they do to LeBron?
James, put on a dress.
Hold on.
They take the strongest man and make him put on a dress.
Is that their choice? Because
what's your boy that used to pump his shoes up back in the day?
D Brown?
Your boy that used to wear the dress.
You talk about Larry Johnson?
Put on a dress.
My nigga,
you know what I'm saying?
That is a choice they make.
But why?
Because they.
But why do you take the why do you take the strongest masculine black man and make him put on a dress?
No, they don't make them.
I ain't saying you. They making them.
That's exactly what you said.
But why are you putting that image out there for my kids?
They choose to do that.
They might have put a bag in front of his face.
Yeah, but that's bullshit on their part. I can't blame that on systematic shit because if they come to you and say, "Hey, I want you to put on a dress,"
you ain't gonna do it,
right? Just like Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, he didn't. He chose.
And look what happened.
He's still rocking.
I mean, not like he was,
but that
you can't say
that was a choice.
And look at the results.
It is cases.
And like you said, look at the results.
Cases
look at the
where they do take stuff like that and make it to where, like, because you're not doing what I want you to do, I'm going to tarnish your image publicly. But at the same time, every person has a choice.
It's like slavery almost. It's not physical, but it's like slavery.
But
because you can't. It's like they keep you at a certain level. You can't do certain things because they don't allow you to do it.
That's more of a mindset for a person.
I mean, yeah, you can do it, but it's results. It's choice. I mean, it's consequences.
It's
consequences.
Okay,
you can do what you want.
But it's a consequence.
Just like you said, you can go out and do what you want, but it's consequences for everything.
And it's consequences for everybody.
Yeah,
everybody.
Yeah, you're right. Because you reap what you sow.
Exactly.
You know what
so it don't matter at the end of the day what the day that you're talking about. It don't matter what they do. If there's something that's destined, this is gonna segue us into religion. If it's something that's destined for you,
see, I was gonna say this just a while ago.
It's nothing that nobody can do.
And
let me get into giving a white guy. Way before slavery, it was images of white guy. There was images of a black guy too. But let me tell you something about history. And when it comes to religion, the way people get religion across to other people is they give them a deity that relates to them. For example, Indian Buddhists, the original Indian Buddha was slender, very stout, regular eyes. As Buddhism moved to China, eyes got chinkier. He got sloppy. No.
But the original Chinese people were black.
In India, he was more fat. When it moved to China, he started looking like Chinese people. And that was for Chinese people to relate to him. You see what I'm saying? So whereas if there are images of Jesus Christ in black society in ancient times.
Yeah.
But as pagan society took on the religion, they just made the deity relatable to them. Now, it's no way you can tell me that at that time they were thinking, hey, we're going to make Jesus white so that 200 to 300 years from now, we can enslave black people.
And this is the thing, like, I believe in God, like, straight up, but I see no color.
Yeah. And that's why
you don't have to see color because you can look around every day.
But that's what I'm saying.
If I have a baby with a white woman, or you have a baby with a white, that baby is gonna be a brown baby.
Even still, what
I'm addressing, we can genetically wipe out their whole race.
Okay, but what I'm addressing is
that's war that we do not understand.
That's war that
we do not understand.
It's not about
they understand that we don't understand
out a race.
They understand that.
But why is it about wiping out a race?
Ask them.
So you just want hold on. If I'm understanding, you just want nothing nothing but niggas, like nothing but.
I ain't saying that. I mean, I love everybody.
Because
I'm just saying.
It's a war.
It's a war raised on us. It's a war on us. We don't even know we're in it. You get what I'm saying?
I don't.
I don't believe it's a race.
Because I don't believe the majority of another race is thinking that same way. Are there important pieces of that race that do think like that? Yes. But shit has progressed in such a way.
Yeah, of course.
But see, because of progression though, we can't, and this is what I'm talking about, victimology. See, where you hear that and it makes you make certain changes within yourself, other people will hear the shit you saying and think, well, shit, it ain't nothing I can do anyway.
Yes, we can.
Exactly. And that's
yes,
the point.
We can. That's what
I'm saying. That's the point I want to get across. Because letting people know that it's this shit against you, everybody ain't built like us. Everybody ain't built to where they want to make themselves better. People are lazy. That's the biggest fucking problem we have, is laziness. If you decide to let a motherfucker do for you, or let this circumstance that you hear about, haven't even experienced, but hear about, be the way that shit is for you, motherfucker, that's on you. You're not gonna tell me I can't do shit. Nah. I'm gonna find a way to make that shit happen.
Or if somebody tell you something you don't agree with, you don't like, we have so much researching that we can do.
And that's another thing about religion. You can lean not to your own understanding.
Yeah.
But go to the Father for your understanding. My nigga, it's no way you can tell me that God is a certain color, especially if I look at where he was walking, Jesus that is, where he was traveling through, where he was born at. You're not gonna tell me that he was a certain color, because I know what this part of the region, what pigment that color has to be for them to even survive.
So when you say pigment, you mean dark skin?
Yes, because of where he was at, it's only viable for you to be a certain color to even survive. Because melanoma, which wasn't even thought of back then, would have set place if you were of a certain pigmentation at that time, which is cool. But that's not what the point of the message is.
Right. Yeah. Right.
The point of the message is to love thy neighbor, believe that I sacrifice myself for you, and believe that in the higher power, which most religions preach anyway. There's a higher power, number one.
Same God, really.
Yeah. Love thyself, love thy neighbor,
as yourself.
Fellowship, carry us. It's no way you can tell me that it's not a higher power, seeing as how you know right from wrong. You know that feeling you get when you're doing some bullshit.
You go outside and look at the trees.
And understand that.
And look at the sun come up and tell us.
But there's also where I do agree. See, not everything I disagree with. Now, where there was bullshit put in the game, is people, in the bullshit I more or less blame on people now versus back then. They didn't have Google back then. Right. Now you have Google to understand certain things. Like, if you understand what, at that time in that region, what the word virgin meant, it meant a woman who wasn't married. Not a woman who had never had sex. That's today's society. You see what I'm saying? So, whereas if, boom, we all have been in fights before. I might have had to fight, somebody at the fight tell one person about the fight. By the time it get to the 10th person, somebody done did some magical shit. Not saying that God didn't work miracles at all, because I believe in miracles.
No doubt.
But it could have been where a story as simple as I prayed over somebody and something changed turns into, man, I heard about that boy Jesus out there. That nigga did 16 backflips. And the person just jumped out of nowhere from a full grave. Not saying that those stories can't be true, because I believe God has worked so many things out in my personal life. Right. For example, this podcast, to where it's only a divine intervention. Yeah. But believing in what another person tells you, it's never going to get you nowhere. So what we got to encourage people, and what I hate about this type of subject, this podcast, this episode, these type of episodes right here, can have part 3, a part 4, a part 5. But what I do get across that's way better from this one is we actually got focused on something. We started diagnosing stuff, and we're going to get it apart. So what I'll do is, every month, Reese come back. We'll talk. because this is gonna be a consistent. We always got issues in our community.
Right. And stuff happens.
Yeah, and stuff goes forward.
And you just gotta build, like, you know what I'm saying, we got 3 different viewpoints. You know what I'm saying? Some similarities. You know what I'm saying?
That's what you got to build off of.
And it just
that's what you build off of.
It comes down to respect.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I'm not.
That's
on,
why.
I'm
That's
not
why you
on
build
my,
on similarities.
I'm not on my pro-black, but I gotta respect your vibe. I gotta respect it. You know what I'm saying?
We still gotta build on similarities, like you said.
And the point is,
even though most might not agree with what I say sometimes.
Where most problems lie, the point is we gotta come to a head.
Yeah.
Because the next part, what we'll focus in on is how do we get people to take control of their own destiny.
That's
because we gotta learn different. We gotta teach different.
We need some moving feet.
Yeah, we need moving feet, and like you said, we gotta teach different because, like, listen.
Some people just do this right here all day.
And not only that, but
they you know,
certain people
cut the TV on.
Certain people can reach certain people.
Right.
You know
it's a power for everything.
I believe that we all got lives that we are counted for, whether we want that or not. That's gonna you gotta
You're
flock.
You're right.
That's listening to
you. Right.
I got people that's listening to me, and I might not even know
that.
He got people listening.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying, and it's only up to us because we're gonna be the only truth that some of them know because they're not gonna go research. So we gotta make sure we tight.
It's a responsibility.
You know what I'm saying? Responsibility.
In every piece of knowledge you know and tell somebody.
Right.
It's not right for you to hold in knowledge, but if you give knowledge, make sure you give it to its fullest ability.
Right.
Because
but sometimes people, their delivery is different. They can give it to you different.
See,
and
but
you can understand it different.
Yeah,
some
but
people,
it ain't even the delivery. Is make sure you know before you tell somebody. Because where I can get a brilliant idea and go telling somebody about it, a person that I know ain't gonna research, and I know I ain't do all the research.
Right.
If I tell them something, it's like fake news.
Right.
If I tell somebody, you know, it's a plot, they just caught somebody that was plotting on Trump. Because they believe in what the fuck I say, they gonna run with it.
They gonna run.
Right.
Me not even doing my research on it, it's a responsibility.
But that's why I always do my research on everything that I say.
The Bible say it's not your place to argue me. But the blood is on your hands if you don't tell people of me. Now, once I tell you the goodness of Jesus, my hands are white, clean.
White.
That's
and in the word it says to study. You know what I'm saying? To
show yourself approved.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, study, know what you talking.
See, I'm not really into the Bible,
but
I kind of understand it.
You can't help but understand.
But I just
it's so plain, my guy.
I know.
Anything you want to know,
because it's already embedded in us.
Because anybody that wants to know will know. They will find out how to know, and they will do what they have to do. Now, I hate to end here, but I will make it my responsibility every month you come to see me.
Right.
I want you to be here. This is a beautiful vibe. We work well together. As always, if you're wondering if this podcast is for you, I swear it is for everybody. If you're looking for wisdom, I'm not the wisest, but this podcast is for you. Because I promise you I'm going to get you what you need to know. If you're looking for a different view on things, this podcast is for you. If you ever questioned the plight of where you are and want to know how you can change it, this podcast is for you. I don't even have a moral of the story. Just know that I'm going to do my best every time to not only make you laugh, but leave you knowing something. We got to make people think. We got to make people think.
And active. Stay active.
Look, man, I thank my co-host for today, but also thank you for listening and tuning in. This the Was That Mean podcast. We out.
Fight the power. Fight the power.